This is The Weekly on ClickOrlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
Good morning, I'm Justin Warmoth. Florida's primary election is right around the corner. In fact, tomorrow is the deadline to register to vote. Yes, Florida is a closed primary state, but there are still a number of nonpartisan positions up for grabs. That includes Orange County Mayor. There are 3 candidates looking to unseat Mayor Jerry Demings, who can avoid a runoff election in November if he gets the majority of the votes in the primary. This week, I sat down with mayoral candidate Kelly Simrad, an associate professor at UCF and vice chair of Save Orange County, about her platform and why she decided to run.
I decided to run for mayor. I got to the point in Orange County where I said, what is it that we have to do as citizens to be heard? You know, why is it that special interests come before citizens? Why is it that we can show up at the BCC and our voices collectively still don't matter? And over the years, you know, I've been in the trenches fighting with different groups of people, fighting for sustainable development. With Save Orange County, we realized early on that this was a legal and political battle. So we were told to do things like, you know, show up to your Board of County Commissioner meetings. Well, those meetings happen at 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So that meant, okay, I'll take a half a day off of work and rearrange kids' schedules and go down to the BCC, sign up and speak for 3 minutes, and then sit in the audience and hope that my comment made a difference, that it was heard. When that didn't work, they said, oh, well, you can't just come alone. You have to come with many people. So we organize, get a lot of people together, go down to the BCC. Now we've got a lot of people, so you don't get 3 minutes, now you just get 2 minutes to talk. And then you sit down and you wait as a group, and still, you know, it didn't seem to ever influence the vote of the board, whether it was for a land use case like filling in a wetland, or if it was about a rezoning, you know, where you bought into a rural property and now they want to build high density in the rural service area, whether it was about affordable housing. It just, we're constantly in this fight mode. And I don't understand, you know, what is it that we have to do? You make appointments with all the commissioners, you send emails, you do calls, you take it to the polls and you toss one politician out and you elect an advocate for your community, thinking like, okay, well, now we have a chance. And you still can't get it at the BCC. And so that frustration and the endless fight just for people to be heard, I got to a point where I said, you know what, at the very beginning we said this was a legal and political fight. We've done the legal route. We actually sued Orange County with Save Orange County. We won in court for urban sprawl, that Orange County was found to be violating our comprehensive land use plan for urban sprawl and all the detriments and harm that it causes to populations, and nothing changed. So we did the political battle. We tossed one politician out. We got the advocate in, didn't work. So we're back again for the political battle. And I filed to run for mayor because I'm tired of saying, what else do we have to do to be heard?
Yeah, you know, Mayor Demings, during his State of the County address, he'll highlight what's been going on, the population growth, the tourism tax dollars that have seemingly reached record numbers, especially after the pandemic, and then also navigating this county through the pandemic. Let's talk about that, how you feel he did as a leader of this county when it comes to managing something that we see, you know, we've seen once in the last century.
So, coming from the tourism and hospitality industry, I worked in restaurants for years, and then having a PhD in tourism and hospitality management, unfortunately, I feel as though the mayor failed our #1 economic contributor to our local economy here with the tourism and hospitality. And when I say that, it wasn't the big dogs at the top that were hurting as much, although they did feel the pinch for sure, you know, the Universal Studios and the Disney World, but it was the small and medium-sized businesses, the people that are functioning with reduced manpower anyways, reduced human capital. They didn't have the ability when the CARES funding came in to really stop and figure out, how do I fill out this application? How do I apply? You know, how can I function? How can I keep my employees employed, you know, so that they're not losing their money, you know, their salaries? And I didn't see the government outreach that we needed to have to keep those businesses afloat. And we had a record amount of like the small and medium businesses in the hospitality industry close and face major financial hardship that those families, those business owners are going to have to figure out for years to come because they had loans to get those businesses up and running. So I was not pleased with that.
What about his vaccination mandate that he had for government workers?
So I am the most progressive candidate on the ballot, and I stand firmly by it is your body, it is your choice. With that being said, if you choose not to get vaccinated, you need to do your part. You know, you need to be safe. You need to wash your hands. You need to keep a social distance. You need to wear a mask. If you feel sick, you need to stay home. You know, so you have to do your part. What I learned from my research with my job at UCF is what I was very concerned about is that I interviewed about 100 people anonymously that were working in our local area in the tourism and hospitality industry. And what I learned is that the employees, because they were fearful of losing their shifts, losing their hours, being laid off, they found a way around the screening process of if you feel sick or if you're running a temperature. And so they would go to work even if they knew that they had been exposed to COVID simply because they couldn't afford to stay home. To me, that's not a crisis, that's an emergency. When you have a group of people that is working paycheck to paycheck and they're fearful for losing that hourly wage or their tips at the end of the shift, that they're actually putting themselves, putting the community, you know, at a larger risk simply because they can't afford to stay home. And that was a fail of Orange County government where we didn't reach out and try to find a mechanism to get those people funding that could support the higher standard of living that we have in Orange County.
You know, something that's also on the ballot, well, it's not going to be for the primary, not in August, but in November will be the transportation tax proposal that will be up to Orange County voters. A 1 cent sales tax hike that will go to transportation, roughly estimated $600 million annually to improve links, Sunrail, what have you, infrastructure, transportation. Is that something that you believe needs to happen? Are you for that?
No.
Why?
I strongly oppose it. Actually, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. On April 26th, I went and filed to run for Orange County mayor. We get about 80 million tourists a year to Orange County. And one of what I do as for UCF is that I'm part of a research team where we focus on doing socioeconomic policy reform to ensure that the benefits of tourism come back out to the local community. In accordance with state statute, we can massage, we can maneuver, and we can reform our tourism development tax so that that money comes back out and it can go into infrastructural improvements.
Where is it going now?
Currently, some of it comes out and it goes into the community, a set area in the tourist district. It also goes back into the tourism businesses, the private businesses. I don't believe it's the community who endures 80 million tourists a year. It's the community who sits with them in the traffic jams on the road. They use our natural resources when they come here. That money needs to come back out to the community. So before we talk about raising our sales tax to 7.5%, I think that we have to exhaust what the tourist and development tax can do for this community. We are having a record inflation of 40 years. We have an affordable housing emergency. I don't call it a crisis like the mayor does. It is an emergency. We've got gas prices are soaring, food prices are going up. Now is not the time. He says, if not now, then when should we talk about raising our sales tax? Well, I can think of about 100 other times that we should talk about raising a sales tax, and now is not one of them.
Coming up, Simrad will take us through her vision to protect the environment, including the split oak forest, plus the ongoing push to cap rent increases in Orange County. Stay with us.
This is The Weekly on ClickOrlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
Welcome back. Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings has 3 challengers in the upcoming primary election as he seeks a second 4-year term. One of those challengers, UCF Associate Professor Kelly Simrad, has been working to stop the county from allowing the Central Florida Expressway Authority from building a toll road through part of the split oak forest. Let's talk about the split oak forest. I know that's something you've been voicing. If you've been watching the commission meetings, they probably have seen you. You speak on this, and it's something that voters voted. 86% of them voted to protect the split oak forest. Did that fall on deaf ears?
It did. This goes back to my plight of how I started this plan to run for mayor. So you meet with the commissioners, you go to the BCC meetings, you're still not heard. So what the people did is worked endlessly to get a charter amendment to protect a forest that was purchased with taxpayer money. It was left in perpetuity to the people and the wildlife of Orange County to offset overdevelopment that was occurring at that time. And so when the BCC didn't hear us, when they still voted to put a toll road through the forest, we took it to the charter amendment, our county constitution, and worked really hard to get an amendment on the ballot that the people could vote for. And 86%, it was a bipartisan pass, voted to protect that forest. And still, the BCC did nothing. The mayor did nothing. Not even to come out and say, I hear you. I'm with you. I will stand in front of you as your leader, beside you as your neighbor, and behind you to support you. He did nothing except to say, it's out of our hands. Well, I'm sorry, as mayor with a forest that's in your county and with the citizens voting to protect it, it's not out of your hands, it's in your hands.
There's also been a lot of talk about capping rent stabilization in Orange County. And it seems a few commissioners are listening to the people and trying to do something about it. It doesn't seem like, at least right now or in the near future, that's something that will be done. What's your vision on stabilizing rent and then also freeing up more dollars to improve the affordable housing emergency? So
as mayor within the state of Florida, you have the right to declare a housing emergency for 1 year if the emergency is, if your conditions are meeting a detriment harm to the society. I believe that a 30% increase for any family is an emergency when we talk about rent, particularly when we look at Orange County and Orlando coming in dead last in the country for wages. So you have a large majority of people and families that are working paycheck to paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck. So 30% increase on average now, so others saw higher than that. That's an emergency. So what the air is on Orange County is that they're looking at it from a market-based perspective and saying, yes, but there's all these other things that we can't control. There's inflation, there's food prices, etc. We can't control those. So it's a crisis, it's not an emergency. I'm looking at it from the unit of the family level. And from the family level, that's an emergency. And so we need to step in, declare the emergency. You get 1 year, and then we need to think creatively. What do we have within our wheelhouse or our tools? What can we use? There are some things that we can do, like looking at public housing. We have projects like where we have some hotels that have either closed or that are very run down. We can look at the conversion of those properties into affordable housing for temporary relief. We have the opportunity to limit land speculation, where you have investors going into older areas of Orange County, buying the homes, anticipating that the market will climb. And what it's doing is it's moving out the people who have been there for years, so we can limit land speculation. I hear the small owners, saying, hey, I just own one property, I just own 2 properties. And I think that we can work an ordinance out where we can protect those smaller property owners. But when we talk about investment landlords, the corporate landlord, this is where we're getting a massive problem in Orange County, and it needs to be managed. It's the people that are suffering, and we have to think creatively. It's not declare the emergency, give yourself a year, and find solutions to the problem.
So I mean, we have a month left until the primary, which this is a nonpartisan race. So you're not, this is something that you will not see R or D next to names, but everyone in Orange County will vote for this race, and 50% is what the mayor needs, a majority, to not have a runoff election in November. Obviously, he has name recognition. Obviously, his wife is on the ballot as well. What's the confidence level? You know what I mean? I know that you know that this is an uphill battle, right? And so between now and August 23rd, what do you want folks, Orange County residents, to know, and how do you gauge your level of optimism here?
I'm very optimistic, but it is an uphill battle. I am the only candidate on the ballot that is refusing donations from developers, builders, and special interests. The only one. That means that I'm taking contributions only from people, because that is who I'm accountable to. I need the campaign awareness to get out there, and so what I'm doing is we're hitting the streets. I mean, we're hitting the pavement, and we're going door to door, knocking on people's doors, attending events, talking about it. I'm trying to do as much marketing and advertising as we can for free. But I'm eager to talk to people about the policy reform ideas that I want to do. And I get a lot of support for them. So for example, in Orange County, we're only able to vote on one district commissioner. It's the district where you live. So I live in District 5. I can only vote on District 5 commissioner. Yet, all of the 6 district commissioners gets to vote on what happens in my district. I think that that's a major problem, because we are getting representation without accountability. We have no ability to keep the other district commissioners in office if they're representing our area, our district, and we have no ability to kick them out if they're making votes against our community. Further, they don't live in our district, so how do they know what we need? So when I talk about these issues to people and looking at doing at-large elections for the district commissioners, it excites them, because you see an end to the fight. Like, maybe if I, as a District 5 resident, get to vote on District 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, maybe then they will listen to the people, because they have accountability. The people all get to vote on them. So I talk about doing things like that. That excites people, and it makes me feel optimistic for the election, because people are ready for the change where the people come first. People are tired of overdevelopment and sitting in traffic jams. People don't want to talk about tax increases right now. They want to hear about how the local government is going to help improve their lives. And that's what my campaign and the progressive policy reform has been all about. It's a ground-up approach. And the interesting thing is, I tell people all the time, most people who are running for an office are already thinking about how do they win their re-election. I'm not thinking about running for re-election. I only entered this race for aggressive policy reform, and I'm willing to fall on the sword for it, for whatever it means, but I'm not looking for a re-election. I'm not looking for the campaign donations or the PAC donations to come into me. So I'm looking to represent the people, to give them the voice that they need, and to protect our environment, because we're only as healthy as our environment is healthy.
How do you feel like the mayor's handled this re-election? Does he kind of brushed it off? What do you make of how he's handled
I'm so disappointed. He's refusing to debate. He says his candidates don't have anything that's worthwhile to put them on the same platform as him. He's not doing interviews. And I think that it's really taking away a critical piece of information for voters to be able to make an informed vote. We depend upon the debates to inform ourselves on which candidate is going to represent our needs, our family needs, and our community's needs. And he's robbing the people of that experience with saying, let my record stand before me. And I mean, his record is standing before him. We had 2 charter amendments, constitutional changes, with 86% vote for split oak forests and almost 90% for the right to clean water. He's failed to implement either. So he lets his record stand before him. He doesn't listen to the people.
And again, the deadline to register to vote in Florida's primary election is tomorrow, with early voting in Orange and Osceola counties getting underway August 8th. You can find more information on the key races and the key dates, as well as how to make sure you are registered on clickorlando.com/weekly. I'm Justin Wormuth. Hope you have a great Sunday.